That night, I thought I was alone, but my body remembers differently. I lay in the dark, my sheets tangled around me, when something touched me, light, deliberate, tracing along my leg as if it already knew me. A whisper brushed my ear, though no one was there. My breath caught, my heart racing, as the air grew heavy, thick with a presence I couldn't see but could feel everywhere. I didn't know whether to scream or surrender. What happened next still haunts me, because once you feel it, once you know it's real, you can never sleep the same way again. I remember lying there, restless, the faint teal glow of the lamp painting strange shadows across my walls. My body shifted against the sheets, trying to find comfort, but sleep wouldn't come. The night air was cool, brushing against my bare legs where the blanket had slipped away. I thought I was alone. I thought it was just another sleepless night. But then, everything changed. It started as a weight in the air, not a sound, not even a movement, just a shift, like the room itself was holding its breath. My chest tightened, my skin prickled, and I suddenly became hyper-aware of every inch of my body. My legs moved restlessly, one sliding upward, my knee bent, lifting without reason. It wasn't me. At least, it didn't feel like me. It was as though something unseen was guiding me, pulling me into a position I hadn't chosen. The first touch was almost imperceptible, a faint brush along my calf, as though a finger had trailed across my skin. My body stiffened. I told myself it was just the blanket, just my imagination. But then it came again, higher this time, grazing the inside of my thigh, slow and deliberate. My breath caught in my throat. The sensation was cold at first, but with each second it grew warmer, seeping into my skin until it felt intimate. I closed my eyes tighter, pretending to be asleep, too afraid to look. That's when I felt it. Warmth. Not from me, not from the room, but from something close. So close that each exhale fanned against my skin, ghosting over my hip and stomach. My shirt shifted, tugged slightly upward, bearing more of me to the night air. The fabric slid just enough for me to feel exposed, vulnerable, as if invisible fingers had pinched and lifted it. A sound filled the silence, not words, but a low, steady rhythm of breath right at my side. My pulse raced, pounding in my ears, but my body betrayed me. Instead of recoiling, I found myself arching slightly, as though anticipating the next contact. Fear and heat collided inside me, confusing, overwhelming, impossible to separate. Then came the smell, earthy, faintly sweet, intoxicating. It filled my lungs with every inhale, clouding my thoughts, making my head feel light. I knew no one was there, at least no one I could see, but every nerve in me screamed otherwise. The mattress shifted, pressing down near my hip. A hand, unseen but undeniable, glided from my waist to the curve of my stomach. The touch lingered, reverent, almost claiming. My body trembled, my lips parting with a shaky breath I hadn't meant to release. I should have screamed, I should have fought, but instead, I stayed still, my legs still raised, my body open, waiting. And in that terrifying, electrifying silence, I realized the truth. I wasn't alone in my bed. The moment I accepted I wasn't alone, the air thickened around me, pressing against my skin like an invisible weight. My leg, still raised, trembled in the charged silence, and I swear I felt something curl around it. Not a hand, not quite. More like pressure, like the mattress itself had reached up to hold me in place. I gasped softly, the sound breaking through the heavy quiet, and immediately regretted it. Because it responded. Warmth moved up the length of my thigh, slow and unhurried, brushing over me as though savoring the shape of my body. My pulse hammered in my chest, each beat a desperate warning, but my body betrayed me again. Instead of pulling away, I arched slightly, my skin tightening under the phantom touch. Fear kept me frozen, but curiosity, dark, dangerous curiosity, kept me still. The fabric of my shirt shifted again, higher this time. I felt the cool night air graze across my stomach, then the unmistakable warmth of breath hovering just above my skin. I clenched my fists against the sheets, fighting every instinct to bolt upright. But then I heard it, a sound, low and drawn out, right next to my ear. Not quite a whisper, not quite a growl, something in between vibrating through me. The hair on my neck stood on end. My lips parted involuntarily, as if my body thought it should answer. Fingers, at least that's what they felt like, slid slowly across my stomach. At first they were cool, almost chilling, but as they lingered they warmed, leaving behind a trail that made every nerve burn. My breathing grew uneven, shallow gasps filling the silence as the unseen hand moved higher, stopping just beneath my ribs. Then the mattress dipped again, harder this time, as though weight was pressing onto it. The sheets tightened against my sides, pulled taut by something unseen. My raised leg shifted slightly, guided outward, exposing me further. The shame of the position twisted in my chest, but so did a heat I couldn't control. The scent grew stronger, that same earthy sweetness, intoxicating, dizzying, as if it had wrapped itself around me. Each inhale made me weaker, more unsteady, my thoughts blurring into something I didn't want to admit. And then it leaned closer. I couldn't see it, but I could feel it, inches from my face. The warmth of its breath rolled across my cheek, lingering, almost tasting me without touch. I swallowed hard, trembling, caught between terror and anticipation. My shirt lifted again, invisible fingers tugging higher, sliding it upward until I felt cold air on my chest. My heart raced so violently I thought it might burst. And just when I thought I couldn't bear it any longer, I felt it. A brush, feather light, right along the edge of my ribs. The kind of touch that wasn't accidental, wasn't hesitant. It was deliberate, intimate, like it was memorizing me piece by piece. I wanted to scream. I wanted to beg. But all that came out was a shaky exhale, a sound I instantly regretted, because the moment I released it, the unseen presence pressed closer, as though it had been waiting for my surrender. And in that moment, I realized something terrifying. Whatever this was, it didn't just want to be near me, it wanted me. I don't know how long I stayed frozen like that, my shirt lifted, my body trembling, my legs still pinned in the air. The room was silent, but every nerve in me screamed that I wasn't alone. The weight on the mattress shifted once more, slow and deliberate, until I could feel it hovering just above me. The warmth of its breath brushed the side of my face, and then a whisper. Not words I could understand, just a low, intimate sound, like satisfaction, like possession. My stomach twisted, fear and something darker mixing in a way I didn't want to name. And then, as if to prove I wasn't imagining it, the pressure of fingers traced the inside of my thigh. Slow, steady, claiming. My heart pounded so violently it hurt. I wanted to scream, but the air caught in my throat. And then, just when I thought it would finally reveal itself, everything stopped. The touch vanished, the weight lifted, the scent in the air thinned. I opened my eyes slowly, terrified of what I might see. For a moment, the room looked normal, lamp glowing softly, curtain shifting in the night breeze. But then I saw it, the blanket at the foot of the bed pressed down, the shape of knees clearly indented into the fabric. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. And then, just as I locked my gaze on them, they faded, the sheets smoothed as if nothing had ever been there. But I know what I felt. I know what touched me. And I know it wasn't a dream. If you've ever felt a presence in the dark, if you've ever been touched when no one was there, share your story in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to Paranormal Sleep, because tonight it might be your turn.